Hey humans, what's up? I'm in a pretty good mood today, so I decided to make another video. In this one, I'm explaining pretty much every scanner class function or StringBuffer class function that I can think of in Java. Let's begin. The first one is the length function. Throughout the video, I'm going to be using a string variable called str, and for now, I'm calling it hello world. Length is stored in an int version, so this function is returning an int value, and I'm saving that in int l. Since hello world has 11 characters, it should print 11. Let's print out l and see if it works. And there you go, 11. The second one is the char at int function. The char at function takes an int parameter, an integer parameter. So you will have to enter the index of the character that you're looking for in the parameter. For example, if I put 6 in there, then counting from the beginning, you have W. It should be printing W. There you go, that's a W. Next one is an index of function. This one takes a character as a parameter. This is kind of like an opposite of the char at function. In the char at, you were taking an int and returning a character. In this one, you're taking a character and returning an integer. Let's try that out. Since in the previous one we had put 6 and we got W, you should get 6 for writing W this time. For L, it's going to take the first time it encounters L. That's 2, second index. You should note over here that although L is the third letter, it's printing 2 because the counting starts from 0. Now when you enter last index of, it's going to find the last index of L because you put L as the parameter, and it did print 9. Substring is the next function. It has two versions, one with one parameter and the second one with two parameters. Starting from 6, it's going to print the rest of the characters. Since W was at 6, it printed the rest of them. From 7, it's printing ORLD. When you put two parameters, then you're overloading the function. Function overloading is basically using the same function with two different purposes, which means that you're using the same name, but they're actually two different functions. Since you've put an end index, it's going to print every character between the first and the last, excluding the last character. Last character is 6 over here because 7 is being excluded. The first is 3. 2 lowercase. And this one is going to convert every single character in the string to lowercase. Now you can also try this out by converting some of the letters to lowercase and leaving the others uppercase. As you can see, it's leaving the lowercase letters as lowercase and the uppercase letters are converted to lower. In 2 upper, all of them are converted to uppercase. Let's try that out with all lowercase. Again, they're all converted to uppercase. Now moving on to the replace function. This one is again overloaded. In the first version, we are going to be using 2 characters. If you want to replace every time you come across E with an I, then you will get hello world, which definitely makes a whole lot of sense. Let's print that out. Now if you see, then it did not work this time because str.replace does return a value. It returns that, and I'm saving that into string, so I'm changing the hello world saved in str into hello world, and there you go. You can also replace L with Q, and it's replaced every single time. In the second overloaded version of the function, you can enter a string as the parameter. For example, if I want to replace hell with heaven, then you're going to have to change the single quotes into double quotes because strings are saved in double quotes, and then print that out. It should be heaven or world, I think. Yes, there you go. Now, concat string is like adding the first string to the second string. I'm making another string over here called and other humans, or let's just make that aliens. Yes, and aliens. Now if you add string s to str, then you have to make sure that you're saving that in another string. Now I'm just converting the original string into the added string. It should be printing hello world and aliens, and there you go. If I were to exchange the positions of s and str, then you'll get and aliens hello world. There you go. You have to be very careful about which string you're putting first. Equals string is like the equals function for comparing objects. It checks if the first string is identical to the second. If you use an equals operator, then it doesn't work out the same, because the equals operator just checks if they're storing the string in the same position. But in this case, s is a different variable and str is different. So you have to make sure that you're using the equals function. Now, Java is case sensitive, so you have to make sure that both the strings are of the same case, uppercase or lowercase. I'm just going to skip these two functions because they're a bit cryptic, but the basic point of them is to compare the first string to the second, and it can be used in functions like arranging words in a dictionary manner, and it returns values in integer forms. Now trim, let's just see what it does, right? Trim is it's a funny function, a pretty odd use. So the first time I'm going to print the str string, and the second one I'm going to print the new version after applying trim on the string. Now you see that in the first version there's a whole lot of spaces on the sides. Trim basically gets rid of all those spaces and returns only the text or the letters that you've put in the string. Now ends with string returns a boolean value. So I'm declaring a boolean variable called b and putting that function in. And let's see if hello world ends with rld. It does, right? So it should be printing a true. Not a true, just true. It does print true. Now if I were to put capital D, Java is case sensitive as I mentioned earlier, so it's printing false. Now you can do starts with also. You can check if the string is starting with RLD. It's not, it's starting with HEL, so let's check that out. And it prints true. The last one is not exactly a string function, it's more of a wrapper class function. What it does is it's using the integer wrapper class, that's what it's called. The integer wrapper class can check if the string contains an integer. Let's just change the str to 22, and it does contain an integer, which is 22, so it's storing 22 as an integer in X. This doesn't work with strings without any letters in them. They have with letters in them. It has to have only numbers. You can also try this out with double. Double also has a wrapper class to check the value of the string. Let's just put the double in there. There you go. Now you can use X to perform mathematical functions, but you can't use str to perform mathematical functions. For example, over here, let's divide x by 2. This is the same as writing x equals to x by 2. It's just a shorthand operation for the same. It should be printing 11.16 because 22.32 divided by 2 is 11.16, and there you go. That works just fine. Moving on to StringBuffer class functions. To access the StringBuffer class, you need to import java.io, which is a package that deals with all the input and output functions for Java. Then after that, you need to create an object for the StringBuffer class, and I'm just naming that obj. this particular statement stores a string in str. When I put hello world in there, then it's storing hello world in str, and if I don't put anything, then it's just an empty string. I'm just going to leave the hello world over there for now so that we can actually use functions. The first one is the bend function. So for that, it's kind of like the concat function. You can add one string to another. In this one, I'm adding and aliens to hello world, so it should be printing hello world and aliens just like it did with concat. Oh, I forgot to print it in the first place. Okay, there you go. Hello world and aliens. Now let's try out the setChar add function. This one has two parameters. The first parameter is an integer and the second one is a character. If I want to set a character at the third place and I want to put Q over there. Oh, alright. So it says that StringBuffer, this one doesn't return a value. It just sets a character in that particular place in str and it doesn't return a value. This one is the first function without a return that we've come across so far. And it did exactly that. It's kind of like a replace function. In the third place you had L earlier and you're replacing that with Q. Now you can insert a string in the third position. It should print hell QQ other world, and there you go. It's not replacing anything, it's just inserting the string that you've put in as the parameter. Now if you want to delete the QQ over there, then you can do that. There are five Qs, right? So you're gonna have to put 8 over there. You cannot put 9 because unlike the substring function, this one actually includes the last index. Now let's try out the setLength function. Oh wait, no. Let's try out the reverse one first. If you reverse it, then it should basically just print all the letters in reverse, and that's what it's done. Now if I didn't have a string over there, if it were an empty object, then you can set a length to str. If you put 5, then it's going to have 5 characters. Now wait, if it has 5, then yes, it'll have 5 characters, and the index in these indexes will be from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.